Trump's two-week truce now appears to be backfiring, as reports suggest Mojtaba's Iran is already moving to replenish its missile stockpile. Trump may be planning a blockade to cut Iran off, but Tehran's missile reserves are still substantial enough to keep pressure on its adversaries. Israel still appears deeply worried about Iran's missile threat as the risk of war restarting rises alongside the planned naval blockade. After a month of war, a two-week truce, and failed talks, Iran is still holding significant leverage, especially because the core disputes remain unresolved. Iran is reportedly using older missile components produced before its last war with Israel in an effort to replenish its arsenal, suggesting that Tehran is trying to restore capabilities quickly even under intense pressure. The Jerusalem Post made that claim about Iran's missile arsenal, citing a security source who said the country is relying on pre-war components as it works to rebuild its stocks. The same source said the IDF is closely monitoring these developments and preparing for multiple possible scenarios, indicating that Israel is treating the situation as a serious and evolving threat. This development was reported amid fears that the war could restart after US-Iran talks failed to produce an agreement in Islamabad, leaving major flashpoints unresolved. Israel is now gearing up for the possibility of renewed conflict, according to reports carried by all three major Hebrew television networks, reflecting growing concern that the truce may not hold. According to the Times of Israel, those preparations are coming less than a week after the two-week truce first took effect, underlining how quickly hopes for de-escalation have begun to erode. Following the failed dialogue in Islamabad, Trump announced on April 12 that the United States would impose a naval blockade, dramatically escalating pressure after diplomacy broke down. The United States is preparing to blockade the Strait of Hormuz, which is already facing major disruption from Iran's actions, making the standoff over the waterway even more dangerous. This comes as the IRGC has threatened a severe response to any US warship approaching Iranian waters, raising the risk of a direct military clash at sea.
I would say it's holding well. Their military is destroyed. Their whole Navy is underwater. You know that 158 ships are gone. Their Navy's gone. Most of their mine droppers are gone. We have a lot of people, as you know, at 10 o'clock tomorrow, we have a blockade going into effect. That'll be 10 o'clock tomorrow. Other nations are working so that Iran will not be able to sell oil. And that would be very effective. But what we want to do is we want to, and again, we don't need it. What we notice and what we see and what I think is maybe my idea, maybe not, I don't know. But there are many boats heading toward our country to fill up with oil and then go and take it. So they're not going to go through the Hormuz Strait. And ultimately that'll be corrected. But in the meantime, they're using us. We have more oil because of drill, baby, drill. We have more oil than Russia and Saudi Arabia put together. I think Iran is in very bad shape. I think they're very desperate. We had a meeting that lasted 21 hours. We understand the situation better than anybody, and Iran's in very bad shape. And just so you understand, Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. Will not have. There is no way that they're going to get. They still want it, and they made that clear the other night. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. Oh, I don't know. I don't care if they come back or not. If they don't come back, I'm fine. Their military is gone. Their missiles are largely depleted. The manufacturing capability for missiles and drones is largely defeated. We've been very nice. We haven't ripped down too many bridges. We did one only because they broke their word. They broke their promise. And remember, their promise was that they were going to open the Hormuz Strait. They didn't do it. They lied. We don't like a pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapons so they can blow up the world. I'm not a fan of Pope Leo.
As peace talks fail on land, Iran is now warning US Navy ships in the Strait of Hormuz, raising fresh fears that the next escalation could erupt at sea. On April 12, Iranian state media dismissed the US naval move near Hormuz as a failed propaganda stunt that backfired on Washington. Security sources quoted by Press TV claimed the operation was extremely high risk for the US, hinting that American ships were sailing into a trap. That same day, Iranian outlets released footage they say shows IRGC units issuing stark warnings to nearby US warships. In the clip, aired by Press TV, Iranian voices can be heard ordering American vessels to change course and stay away. "This is the last warning. This is the last warning," Iranian personnel repeat over the radio, driving home the threat. The US ship responded that it is transiting under international law and does not intend any provocation or hostile act. American voices even reference the temporary ceasefire, stressing that both sides are supposed to be de-escalating, not trading threats. Despite that, Iranian forces escalate their tone, ordering the warship to alter course immediately and leave the area. "If you don't obey my order, you will be targeted." Out, an IRGC controller radios, in what sounds like a direct threat to open fire. According to Iranian reports, the destroyers USS Michael Murphy and USS Frank E. Peterson Jr., both Arleigh Burke class, attempted to enter the Strait of Hormuz on April 11th. Press TV claims that Iranian cruise missile batteries locked onto the ships while attack drones circled overhead. The report dramatically alleges the destroyers were only a few minutes away from complete destruction if they had pushed further. Iranian forces supposedly issued a 30-minute ultimatum at the mouth of the Gulf: turn back or be hit. Press TV insists the US ships immediately retreated once their crews realized cruise missile radars had locked on. Support helicopters reportedly flew overhead as IRGC units ordered all other vessels to stay at least 10 miles clear of the showdown zone. The Iranian account says later radio traffic shows US crews fully complying with IRGC demands and pulling away. Tehran's narrative frames the US transit as an attempted pressure tactic on negotiators in Islamabad that ultimately failed. The US Central Command, however, tells a very different story, saying both USS Michael Murphy and USS Frank E. Peterson Jr. transited Hormuz on April 11th as planned. CENTCOM frames the operation as a mission to set conditions for clearing IRGC sea mines and ensuring safe navigation in the strait. Admiral Brad Cooper said, "Today, we began the process of establishing a new passage, presenting it as a deliberate freedom of navigation move." A US official told Axios that the destroyers crossed in both directions without any Iranian units issuing a warning or challenge. USS Michael Murphy reportedly even activated its AIS transponder during part of the transit, openly signaling its passage like a civilian ship. This latest claimed standoff comes right after US-Iran ceasefire talks ended without a breakthrough on the diplomatic front.